Miltenyi Biotec is, I think, the largest privately held biotech company in Germany. They make thousands of products. Niels will certainly share some information about the company with us. We had the first meeting with Miltenyi just shortly before the COVID pandemic hit us all. And then after many workshops and decision process, there was a longer decision process at Miltenyi. Miltenyi decided to, in the first licensing of strategic portfolio management, decided to go for an unrestricted SPM license, meaning basically having SPM for every employee in the company, and also to pretty much implement the solution pretty much at the same time for IT processes, for organizational processes, and for the R&D processes, product development, research, etc. So quite challenging, and all this during the Corona times. And with this, I would like to hand over to Niels Bucani. Niels, maybe also you start with saying a couple of things about yourself and Miltenyi.
Of course. Thank you very much, Andreas. And also thanks, Bernd, for the insights that you gave us in the previous presentation. Always super interesting to see. And we might have some things in common. But before I dive into the SPM part, let's have a couple of words on on Miltenyi Biotec and what this company is doing. As Andreas already introduced, we are a global operating biotech company located in Germany. The headquarters here in Bergisch Gladbach. And we are specialized on cell therapies and cell analysis and cell sorting. I'm definitely not a biologist, so I cannot go into too much details, but what I can tell you is that our vision is curing cancer, and also other serious diseases, which makes working at Miltenyi so special, because there's really a purpose on what you do. We have thousands of products. I think it was 19,000 products and services that we sell, that reach from research also to clinical applications. So we really have treatments that are used worldwide. About 5,000 employees. We use ServiceNow since 2017. We started with ITSM, but expanded the usage over the years to other modules, and have SPM since 2021, I think, in use. I'm responsible for the platform and the internal team. Whenever I see slides like this always reminds me of why I work for this company. What you see here is a patient, and all those black dots, those are cancer cells that vanish over the time of the treatment of a couple of months. So treating cancer and curing cancer is not science fiction anymore. It really works, and this really highlights the purpose of the work at Miltenyi Biotec. Achieving something like this for sure requires a lot of research, a lot of real science, not just science fiction, but real science, and a lot of employees. And as you can see here, the headcount increased tremendously over the last years. And as of now, more than 20% of the employees work in the R&D section. So research is not only important to stay competitive in the market, but for sure also to reach our vision and curing diseases. As Miltenyi is not stock listed, but owner managed, we are free to reinvest in all those research areas, which is great. So we are independent. We don't need to focus on shareholder value. We can really invest on areas that are important and that we need. With such a fast-growing company, you can imagine there are several IT tools in place, but there was one particular tool which was used across the whole company. So sounds good, doesn't it? Well, we already saw this tool also on Bernd's presentation. There is definitely a lack of digitalization across the company, and we also saw this in the project management area. So let's have a look at project management at Miltenyi. What do we do? What kind of projects do we have? At Miltenyi, we separate or we distinguish between two kinds of projects, so-called organizational projects and development projects. Those organizational projects can be understood as things like introducing a new software, improving processes, or increasing production capacity. All those supportive departments, most of those projects do have some IT involvement. And this is the kind of project that everybody of us knows from their daily work, I assume. And on the other hand, we have the development projects, and those are very different from the org project in their nature. They really focus on innovation and research, finding new therapies, finding new cell combinations, all those things. And I said we have thousands of products. One of those, or some of those products you see here on the screen, this green box there, this is one of the instruments that we sell that can be used to sort and analyze cells. And I sometimes compare this with a Thermomix, with those kitchen devices, because we don't only sell those devices, those instruments, we also sell and produce the recipes, so the software that is running on those instruments. And this software is basically guiding the researchers in their lab through their processes. And this can also be customized, so it can be custom-built software for the very specific use cases. And on top of that, we also sell the ingredients, so the buffers, the solutions, the reagents. It's a very broad field of products, and very important to stay up to date on all those areas and have a lot of research on this. And another type of project that also falls in this category are clinical studies. As I said, we're also going in this clinical area, clinical application of our products. It's extremely important to have those studies managed in a proper way. And another type of project are grant projects, so sometimes work together with universities, also very highly regulated areas. All those things can be understood as dev project at Miltenyi. So you see those kind of projects, they differ a lot from each other. So very, very different kind of project, but still the goal was to have one common understanding of project management, to align both worlds, to harmonize those worlds. So the goal was to start with a process. In 2019, the first global project management process was released, which applies for both worlds. And this process follows the waterfall approach. So we have 4 phases, starting with initiation, planning, execution, and then the closure phase, which on a high level applies for both worlds. This was already a great achievement to have one common understanding. And then we had a look at the tool sets. And here on the right hand, we again see my friend Excel. So the dev project, they managed the whole resource management in Excel. And as you can imagine, hundreds of resources, capacity management in Excel, this was really a nightmare. The org area, they used MS Project Online, mainly for the project management, so for Gantt charts and things like this. They also to a limited extent also for the resource management, but it was not like really requesting resources, because in this area we still had a lot of manual steps. We even had physical signatures to get approvals on paper, which were printed. So really cumbersome process, not efficient at all. Going back to the dev projects again, the profile that you see here for the project management, this solution is actually a PLM, product lifecycle management tool, or documentation tool. And there was some heavy customization done to include some basic project management functionalities. So in the past, they were able to, add milestones and things like this. But this tool is definitely not made for project management. And on the top, the reporting was already harmonized, and also on the bottom, the time management, SAP cuts to report project times. This was already used in both worlds. So in our project, we focused on this part to find one common tool. It took us, the execution of this project took us about 15 months. So let's go back to 2021 when we started with everything and build up the setup together. It's not going to take us 15 months now, but just a couple of minutes. We used these modules that you see in the slide here. And yeah, let's start from scratch and build this up together. We believe that at Miltenyi, everybody should be heard and should have the option to share their ideas. So it was very important for us to make this entry channel for new project ideas open for everybody. We use also the demand management for this. Every employee at Miltenyi can visit this site on our employee center where they can submit project proposals. Depending on whether it's an org or dev project, different informations are captured, like title, business segment, and other information. But once they are approved by different ways, in both cases, either dev or org, a project record is created with those 4 phases again. So with initiation, planning, execution, closure again, where the project managers can prepare the next phase and get approval. So all phases are planned and approved sequentially, one after another. And planning a phase means financial planning and resource planning. So what the project manager can do here is basically they can add cost plans to do the cost planning, financial planning, and resource plans for the resource management. So we use the tool to really request resources for the upcoming phase. This can either be done by a person on the person level. So I'm requesting a person to work on my project, or a skill in the form of a team. I'm requesting somebody from this team. And there's approval workflow. You can request and then approve those resources. And after all the resources are approved or confirmed, they can work on this project. Same goes for the costs. You need to plan the costs for the upcoming phase. And once the project is approved by a board, or the portfolio board meeting, those costs are transferred to budgets. And now the project management has this budget to work on the project. Everything's documented, fixed, and approved. And this is something which was not there before. So having this control over costs and resources was new for both the org and the dev projects. Well, the dev project don't use it in that detail, but it's definitely new for all the project managers. These budgets that we saw on the previous slide, keep this in mind. We will come back to this in a second. But first, projects, of course, can be organized in programs and portfolios. And now we come back to the budget, because we also added some integrations. Starting with Profile on the left, this was the document management tool that was used already by the dev projects. We kept this for document management. So whenever a project is created in ServiceNow and approved, the project record is also created in Profile for document management and Profile, and also in Teams. So there's a Teams channel created out of ServiceNow. Every team member can work in there, share documents, share comments, and whatever. And the other interface is actually even more interesting, because we transferred the approved budget as well as the team members from ServiceNow to SAP. Create a record in SAP where they can, or the team members can track their costs at their times with SAP CATs, which are then again transferred back to ServiceNow. And also the budget is sent to SAP, which gives us the option to have real cost control of the project, because now you can only create purchase requisitions as long as the budget is not exceeded. And all the cost actuals are also sent back to ServiceNow. So on both worlds, the finance team has the control on SAP. They see everything there, and the project manager and PMO and all the other stakeholders also have the information in ServiceNow. This integration was a really great step forward in terms of transparency. Well, not all areas at Miltenyi, not all companies or departments have SAP. Some don't have a company code. This is why we also introduced timesheets for those areas. And of course, once you have all the data on the system, plenty options to do reporting, creating dashboards. I just have 2 examples here, but there are several more. This, for example, for the project manager to keep track of costs and the resource consumption. Also more detailed view on the costs. And then there's one more piece, scenario planning. This was actually not in the scope of the initial project, but because all the data was there and the project team together with PlanHorizon did a good job, every foundation data and all the processes were stable enough. It was just a matter of activating this feature. No more customizing or anything was required. And now we are also we can compare scenarios before approving projects. Gives us a whole different option to prepare those portfolio meetings, and give the upper management some options to choose from. We have one more module left. This is agile management or agile development. SPM is just one of the modules on our platform, and each of those modules are managed individually. So we have different agile teams in place, or in ServiceNow terms, agile groups that are used to operate and also develop new features in those areas. And the Scrum and the agile development module is not only used for ServiceNow development, but also by other IT teams. And we use this unified backlog to transfer change requests, or also a task, any task to a story, which can then be tracked in a sprint. So also other IT teams and even non-IT teams are using this agile development module to track their work or manage their work. So these are like the first experience going to a hybrid project management world. It's something that we want to look into in the future. All right, going back to this slide, this was how the 2 worlds were separated in the past. And now we have one common tool used by both worlds, project types, and way more harmonized view on project management at Miltenyi. I'm going to close my presentation with some key figures. Well, first one, 100% elimination of paper and physical signatures. As I said, there were many processes where it really was necessary to walk across the buildings and collect physical signatures to get a project approval. It's really great improvement there. And we have more than 1,000 active projects which are managed in ServiceNow at the moment. And the majority of them are dev projects. And having this unrestricted license, actually every user that we have on the platform could work with the module and all of the functionalities. This is why we have more than 1,400 users that work on the project management module. So this makes the SPM module the module with the largest user connections. No other module is used by that many users on our platform. And also on a regular basis, you see 600 distinct users are working with the module per month. So it's really heavy usage, and at the moment, really great acceptance also. Really great to see how this tool and this module increases the efficiency in the project management world at Miltenyi. All right. This is my closing slide. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Niels. Great presentation. A great example on how to use SPM truly across the platform. The more you do with this, the bigger will be your business case. That's what we learned from our customers. We do have at least one question here, but I would like to introduce briefly Nadia. Are you in our conference?
Yeah, hello.
Okay. So yeah, this is Nadia, and she was as our project manager at Miltenyi. Maybe you want to say a couple of words about working together with Miltenyi, or comment on some aspects, and then Niels, maybe you can read and then answer the question we have.
Yeah, I can introduce myself shortly. So I was the project manager in the SPM introduction of for the Miltenyi. We started in, I think in August 21, implemented firstly the org proposal. This is demand process, followed by the implementation of the two types of projects, as Niels already showed, those dev and org projects, with the go live on February, and then further implementation of other demand process for the dev proposals after February 22, and I think till summer 22, and after that we went to so-called product mode, and we were making some smaller adjustments and support. And yeah, I was very happy to work for such a company that have a very important mission in the world, and it was great job. It was challenging again, because we had these two completely different worlds that we wanted to have in one system and one table. And I think everyone brought a great input and great collaboration, because we had again and again asked those questions: do we really need these requirements? So that's something what we heard in the presentation before. You really need to ask if it's necessary. So why do we doing this? Because we are not implementing something for one process. We should think about other people, other processes that use the platform. We should think also about platforms, so how we impact other modules probably. And yeah, we may have different data model, and we have different roles and permissions, different entry points and so on. So it was a pretty challenging project, but it was very interesting.
Thank you, Nadia. Niels, you want to go to the question we have from the audience?
Yes, sure. Question is whether the team members are synced automatically between ServiceNow and MS Teams, or if this is done manually. They are synced indeed. Once a day or the night, all the team members entered in the project in ServiceNow are synced to MS Teams, so there's no manual effort needed.
Great, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for that great example, how you can use the power of the platform, and how you can be successful with so many users in strategic portfolio management.